Oh, the streets of Rome are filled with rubble. Ancient footprints are everywhere. Well, you could almost think that you're seeing double on a cold, dark night on the Spanish Step. Gotta hurry on back to my hotel room. We're in on a hilltop, following a pack of wild geese. Wait a minute. Gotta hurry on back to my hotel room, where I got me a date with Botticelli's niece. There we go. She promised she'd be right there with me when I paint my masterpiece. All the hours were spent inside the Coliseum, dodging lines, yes, and wasting time. All those mighty kings of the jungle, I can hardly stand to see them. Well, it sure has been a long, hard climb, and train wheels rolling through the back of my memory. We're in on a hilltop, following a pack of wild geese. And someday life will be sweet like a rhapsody when I paint my masterpiece. Jason Crosby. Sail around the world in a dirty gondola. Oh, to be in the land of Coca-Cola. I left Rome and I landed in Brussels on a fight so bumpy that I almost cried. Clergymen in uniform and young girls pulling muscles. Well, it sure has been a long, hard ride. Newspapermen eating candy, had to be held down by big police. And someday everything gonna be different when I pay my masterpiece. Someday everything gonna be different. Yes, it will. When I paint my masterpiece. When I paint my masterpiece. We got a big old cast of clowns this week, but featuring most notably Ms. Leslie Mendelson. She's a new friend. She's out here from New York. She has a Grammy-nominated album a little while back, and coming up with a new one shortly. And what are we doing next?
The Beatles song.
All right. I'm going to go to electric guitar. You guys get it started, and I'll just
Groovy.
kick in. Which one? Yeah. Can't start without you, man. You ready for the switcheroo, AJ? No. Wow. How'd that happen? Okay. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Nobody ever loved me like she does. Oh, she does. Yes, she does. And if somebody loved me like she do, oh, she do me. Yes, she does. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
I'm in
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
And for the first time that she really done me, ooh, she done me, she done me good. I guess nobody ever really done me. Ooh, she done me, she done me good.
Don't let me down. 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 Don't let me down.
Not supposed to stop. Yeah. Can we do it again?
I have seen when the wolf is slapped by the silver spoon, and I can tell by the mark he left you in his dream. A child of countless trees, a child of boundless seas. What you are, what you're meant to be, speaks his name, though you were born to me, born to me, I see. Lost now on the country mile in his Cadillac, and I can tell by the way he smiles, he's rolling back. Come wash the nighttime cleaning, come grow the scorched ground green.
the gap of the darkest in between you and me, gasoline. Quick beats in an icy heart. Catch gold draws a coffin cart. And there he goes, and I hear she starts to hear her cry. Flight of the seabirds, scattered like lost words, lead to the storm and fight. Let your life proceed by its own design. Nothing to tell now. Let the words be yours. I'm done with mine. Fare me well now. Let your life proceed by its own design. Nothing to tell now. Let the words be yours. I'm done with mine. Done with mine. westwards, wheel to the storm and fly. Trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the $2 man. Together, more or less in line. Just keep trucking on. Hills and Union, flashing my keys out on Main Street. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and that's on the same street. Your typical city involved in a typical daydream. Hang it up and see what tomorrow brings. Dallas, got a soft machine. Houston, too close to New Orleans. New York, got the ways and means, but just won't let you be. Oh no, no. Most of the cats you meet on the street for your true love. Most of the time they're sitting and crying at home. One of these days, they better be going out of the door and down to the street all alone. Trucking like the $2 man once told me you got to play your hand. Sometimes cards are worth a dime if you don't lay 'em down. Oh no, no. Sometimes the lights off still sparkle, you know she isn't the same. Living on rags and bottomless and cocaine. All that frankincense and shame. Trusting up to Buffalo, I've been thinking you got to mellow slow. It takes time, pick a place to go. Just keep trucking on. You're sitting and staring out the hotel window. I got a tip, they're gonna kick the door in again. Well, I'd like to get some sleep before I travel, but if you got a warrant, I bet you're gonna come in. Busted down the Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin. Knocked down against a wearing thing that just won't let you be. Oh, no, no. When you're sick of hanging around and you like to, whoops, you're tired of the travel and you want to settle down. Well, I guess they can't revoke your soul for trying. Get out of the door and look around. Sometimes the lights all shining on me. Other times I can barely see. Lately it occurs to me, well, strange trip it's been. Trucking, I'm going home. Whoa, whoa, baby, back where I belong. Back home, it's time to patch my bones. Gets back trucking on. Get back trucking on. And I get back trucking on. Well, you gotta get back trucking on. Hi! Get back trucking on. Well, you gotta get back trucking on. Well, get back trucking on. You gotta get back trucking on. Yeah, trucking on.
Okay, I forget what I'm supposed to do here. Oh, wait. I'm prompted to remind you that sooner or later all roads lead to the couch.
That's what he said.
Hello, everybody.
got Ellis?
I'm Big Steve Parrish, and I was lucky enough to crew for the Grateful Dead. And I want to tell you guys that all this beautiful music has set all our minds afire of road stories. And, you know, Bobby, I wanted to ask you first. We're joined here on the couch by our good friend Dave Schools, who has done a lot of traveling with Widespread Panic and other bands. And the lovely Leslie Mendelson, who's a new friend of ours, and she's going to listen to some of the stories and tell some of her own, too, if we can pry them out. But, Bob, I was thinking, I don't know if you remember this, but, you know, when you're on the road, the whole thing, when you get back to the couch, that's the end of the tour. That's why we have the couch. So when you're on the couch, that's when the tour is finally over. And, you know, one of the things I was just thinking about, how you get around on the road, many years ago when Rex Jackson, who you guys might know from the Rex Foundation, which we named for, we were on the road, and he was road managing us, and we had two limo drivers, and they were Dominic and Sal that would always meet us in New York. And so they tried to talk us into something. And Dominic would come over and say, guys, if you buy a limo, I'll always be here for you. Every time you come to New York, Grateful Dead will have a limo waiting for them. Well, how much, Dominic? You know, so $5,000 cash in those days, it was the early 70s. And
It wasn't a
scraped
new
up the
limo
money.
by any means.
That huh?
It wasn't a new limo by any means
Oh,
either.
no, it was used. But we never got to see it. We paid him the $5,000. We never saw Dominic again the rest of our life. And that just reminded me, remember the time when we pulled into Pittsburgh and Mickey Hart, he just looked around, the limo driver was loading the limo up, and he jumped behind the wheel. We all jumped in with him, and he took off, and we were arrested for stealing the limo. But that's another story. Dave, would you like to tell us any of your road stories or anything in particular?
I remember one time, maybe 15 years ago, Spin Magazine ran a, hey band, send us your road nightmares. And I wish I had sent this in because I think this pretty much takes the cake. Widespread Panic's first real tour vehicle was a 1968 school bus yellow. We pulled all the seats out, built a cage in the back for the gear, a bunch of beanbag chairs, and we rode around it. Had no first gear. We had to park it facing down a hill, no matter where we were. And it chugged along, and it got us to gigs. But one time we played a gig in Richmond, Virginia, my hometown.
Okay.
It was an upstairs gig. At the end of the night, we loaded all the gear out onto the sidewalk. We were going to bring the bus around, load it up. Bus wouldn't start. Wouldn't start. So we carried all the gear back up. I rode to Charlottesville the next day with a friend, got to the gig. Where's the band? They finally show up in a Ryder truck. Bus is dead, it's gone. So we do the gig. We have to put the Ryder back where it belongs and take a U-Haul back to Georgia, back to the couch, back home. So we transfer from truck to truck in the rain, put three of us in the back of the U-Haul sleeping. There's no crawl space. Drive all night through Georgia. Suddenly there's a pounding on the back of the door. Get up, the truck's on fire.
Perfect.
So we come rolling out of the back. What can we put this fire out with? Beer. It was the floorboard of the driver's seat. We dumped all our beer on it, put the fire out, looked at each other and said, we're about an hour from home. We pulled that thing up into the yard of our band house, and after that we got a van, a real dependable van. That's a road nightmare.
Exactly.
I remember one time we were playing in Paris, and it was at the Olympia Theater, and this was back in the early '70s, and France was just crawling. I mean, just crawling with commies.
You will play for free. You will play for free. They kept yelling at us.
They also, they were particularly attracted to events like ours because they really wanted to get in, and they wanted to get on the stage, and they wanted to get on the microphone and deliver the message that our good friend Karl Marx had to offer, and they really liked to harangue crowds. And communists and microphones back in the late '60s, early '70s, communists and microphones were like moths and light bulbs. They had to get at it, and we had to throw this one little French guy, little French pinko, out. We had to toss him because he wouldn't shut up. He wouldn't stop going for the microphone. Every time we'd finish a song, he'd be climbing on the stage, whatever. So we finally had to toss him. Well, he got real pissed. Real pissed. In fact, he pissed in the gas tank of our diesel equipment truck.
That's right.
So
we couldn't start it.
We got out of town that night, and we headed on up to Lille, north coast of France, and we got a decent night's sleep.
But the gear didn't make it.
We got a decent night's sleep, and then I got up and went over to sound check. Actually, it was tight. We were running a tight schedule, so we went over to just do the show. There wasn't going to be time for the sound check, and we got to the hall, and there was no gear there. And the line out in front. In fact, I think they'd already opened the doors, and people were starting to come in. And so we huddled up, and what's the deal here? Well, it doesn't look like the gear's going to get here tonight. That's one thing for sure. Oh, really? That kind of leaves us in the lurch, doesn't it? I would think so. Well, what are we going to do? Well, you took French in high school. You go out and tell those guys, hey, whatever you're going to tell them, man, we're getting the hell out of here. So in my halting French, because I hadn't used it much since high school, I went out and explained to the folks that, hey, listen, there's been a little hiccup, one of those bumps in the road where, sometimes what you'd like to happen doesn't really happen, and instead something else happens. And like this time, it was our gear didn't get here, and so I don't think there's going to be a show tonight. And we're going to come back and we're going to play for free in the park because the promoters split with the money, so we can't give it back to you. And I just hope you're going to understand. And they didn't. And anyway, so I went running back up to the dressing room. I got in. They closed, and we put everything heavy in the room against the door that was bulging like this, and we figured, okay, well, we got about 30 seconds to get out that window. 3 stories up, but there's a drain pipe, and so we all climbed down the drain pipe down to the parking lot below, and ladies first, of course, and I was the last one out, and there was a rose that somebody had sent to the gig, and I laid that on the windowsill. And then there was the bus about 2 blocks away, and there were a few people. Most of the people were on the bus, and I got there, and then I could see the angry crowd. If I turned around, which I did once, that was enough. See the angry crowd on their way after me, and. Okay.
We were good to our word, though. We did come back.
We did come back and play.
And that was a wildest show. The whole audience must have eaten sour rye bread, if you know what I mean. I mean, they were completely high, the whole place. And there was about 100 people, and all they were wearing were sheets with holes cut in them. And the whole town of Lille was in the town square, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And it was incredible. It was one of the most memorable shows on the tour. I'd really love to hear that right now. But the whole vibe of coming back there, they didn't believe us in the first place. They were so happy that the whole town came out. You had old people listening, young people, kids running around, and the thing that had happened to us in France, we were wondering why the cops, remember, Bob, they carried machine guns at the shows. And then we realized, yeah, they're very serious about their rock and roll here. And so...
They're also serious about their riots.
Yes.
And they also, whoever, Jackson had thrown a cup of ice cream on this very obnoxious Red Bader guy that you're talking about. And he got so mad, he got the union crew to walk out on the loadout on us. They dropped a truss right on the stage and left. That's about the worst thing they could do to us. All our cables were pinned under it. We were all stoned on LSD. And so the crew, we sat down there. They shut off all the lights. We were in the dark, too. And I remember sitting there, and everybody was in a row. And finally, I got up. I got so mad. One by one, I started taking each cable and rolling it up and moving through it and moving a speaker cabinet, picking it up, walking to the truck, and then little by little, the other guys on the crew got up, started helping me. We loaded that whole truck with a flashlight. Then we found out that it wouldn't start. They had totally put sugar in there, peed in it, done everything to us. But that was another story.
You got to try to keep the commies happy.
Yeah. They wanted us to play for free, and we tried to explain to them we couldn't.
It ain't free for us.
Bob,
They never got that.
there was always these miracle moments on the road, though, and one of them that I'd like to tell you guys about was in Portland. If you remember, the band was literally playing Fire on the Mountain,
All right.
and Mount St. Helens blew off. And we were in Portland. I go out the back door, and it was like prehistoric times, remember?
Right, yeah.
It was ash this thick on everything, dark red ash. The volcano had blown up, and right when they were playing that song.
Yeah, we were down that. This was most of the way through the second set, and we on stage. It's kind of loud on stage. We didn't know it that it had gone off, but suddenly there were guys on either side of the stage. Our road manager, the hall manager, everybody going,
Stop! We gotta go.
and so we were okay. Well, so we cut the set short. You guys got to get back to the hotel right now because the mountain went off, and there's probably going to be an ash fall, and you can't drive a car in an ash fall. It's the ash will get in the radiator, clog up the radiator. The car will overheat, and you won't get anywhere.
We partied that night.
We hauled ass
really
back to
partied that night.
we
thought it was the end of the world.
So we headed back to the hotel, and just as we were getting back to the hotel, the ashfall was starting. It was like a gentle snowstorm, only it was gray. The ash was coming down, and I get out. There was a disco in the bottom floor of the hotel, and there, big disco scene, and there was a pimp out in front of the hotel, looking around, all dressed to the nines, as they say, and he's going, sit, what kind of weather this is? Sit.
Yeah, the next day we had to go to Seattle, and we took the train. There was no other way to get there. And it was incredible. Trees were knocked down. You remember that ride? They were knocked down for hundreds of miles around.
And this was the first gig for our new road manager, Danny Rifkin, at the time. His first gig. So he had to figure out how to get a rock and roll band, plus all its gear and all that kind of stuff, from Portland to Seattle past an angry volcano.
Right.
That was a fun trip.
And Danny the dealer is what we called him, but that's because he would deal nitrous oxide at the parties and get everybody high. But Rifkin was a great road manager, and he figured it out. He was really great at those kind of situations. But he was living in a goat shack up in Mendocino. And we had to buy him the first radio satellite phone I ever saw, so our road manager could sometimes call in and talk to us, because he was living in a place with no electricity, and the goats had left there about a week before him. And he was priceless and one of the greatest. And are you guys going to play some more music, or?
Yeah, I think we're getting. I want to get to some of the questions, but I guess we'll do that.
We did have some great questions from people, and one of them reminded me of a couple of things. It was somebody wanted to know what, they were talking about the snowstorm. If you remember, in '93, one of the rare times we had a canceled show.
Oh yeah, in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, exactly. And that's another night we partied all night. But we very rarely shut down a show for any reason. But the blizzard that came in was the first date of the tour. It knocked us back really hard.
That's the thing. The show has to go on.
The show
It's all the
always
hard
has to
work.
go on.
All the logged miles, all the commies.
Yeah,
The show still goes on.
everything. Police.
Okay, we're going to get back to work here. We'll get to the questions in a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll have
Now,
that a little more organized.
I want to reintroduce Leslie Mendelson, out here from New York. She's going to do a tune all by herself, and then she's going to do a duet, I believe, with
Mr. Crosby.
with Jason, Mr. Crosby, and then we're going to start,
Slink
piling on.
Slink back on stage.
We'll slink back into. So Leslie,
Yeah.
take it away.
All right. I can introduce the song. It's called Speed of Light. And my mic and all that stuff is falling out. I'm so professional. There we go. All right. Good enough. Thanks.
Get out of the camera's way. Go out back. I don't know.
Like blue windows that you can't see through. Every day's a deja vu. I've seen it all before. Rescue me. I'm ready, counting 1, 2, 3. From here to eternity. I'm waiting at your door. I just wanna run with you at the speed of light. At the speed of light. Never slowing down. But I just wanna run with you at the speed of light. At the speed of light. Never slowing down. Three, two, one. Check ignition engines on. On your marks, it won't be long till we're miles away. Lightning flash just before you hear the crash. We'll be gone in seconds flat. We'll make our getaway. But I just wanna run with you at the speed of light. At the speed of light. Never slowing down. But I just wanna run with you at the speed of light. Oh. slowing down, down. Waiting, waiting, I just want to run with you at the speed of light, at the speed of light, never slowing down, down. And I just want to run with you at the speed of light, oh, at the speed of light, and never slowing down, oh, and never slowing down, down, never slowing down.
Hi, the song's called Jericho.
Been a long time coming, been a long time gone. Nothing we can do to stop it. No, we can't go on. Been a lonely winter, dark as a cold new moon. Everything we gotta do now, gotta do it soon. Going round and round, trying to get back to another world. Jericho, like the sun used to shine on you and I, looking for a heart of gold. Jericho, remember how we loved Odessa, and we knew every word. The city of the Black Sea sounding like the best thing we ever heard. Remember how we'd hang our hearts on a nylon string. It was all we ever needed, it was everything. Going round and round, trying to get back to another world. Jericho, like the sun used to shine on you and I, looking for a heart of gold. Jericho, we're going round and round, trying to get back to another world, trying to get
Thank you, Mr. Cosby. Yeah, let's get the band back on. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Nice tune.
Thank you. I'm gonna do a little blues.
Is that really what it,
Got a little blues, little R&B. What is this? Little Ray Charles.
You know what, this one was off his, Ray Charles Goes Country.
That's right, the country sounds.
It's sounds like R&B to me, but he thought it was country.
Fair enough. So, well, it's both.
Right.
It's all roads lead to the same music. There's only two types of music anyway.
Right.
Country and Western. I can't stop loving you. I've made up my mind to live in memory of a lonesome time. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I just live my life in dreams of yesterday. Those happy hours that we once knew, so long ago. Oh, they still make me blue. They say that time heals a broken heart. But time stood still. Oh, since we've been apart. Oh, I can't stop loving you. I've made up my mind to live in memory of a lonesome time. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I'll just live my life in dreams of yesterday.
alone sometimes. Come on now, I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say. So I'll just live my life in dreams of yesterday.
I'd like to thank Steve Kimmock for showing up for this gig. He stepped off an airplane from Japan and came here. And
All right, so I'm just like, we're gonna do another song of mine. This is called Easy Love. Okay. 1, 2.
We don't have to try to keep this thing together. We don't have to worry too much to make it right. We can take our time. We can't take forever. is what we have so easy, easy love. The way you please me, oh, the way you please me, love. What we have is easy, easy love. The way you please me, oh, the way you please me, love. The way you please me now, 'cause everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. And everything is gonna be alright. And everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything easy love, easy love. The way you please me, please me, love. What we have is easy, easy love. The way you please me, please me,
Thank you.
Okay, and now back to the couch.
So we're back here on the couch again. And Bob, I jotted down a couple of great questions that we got. And I want to see, somebody asked a question which I was thinking about earlier, and they wanted to know why on Europe 72 did we put trucking with a remark about Turlock, California? Now, you
Okay.
remember that one.
Now, that's an easy question.
Yes.
Like I say on the record, that Truckin' was a #1 hit for us. In Turlock, it shot straight to the top of the charts and stayed there for
On
a
the
week.
radios there, yep. It also was the trucking capital of California. That's the reason that we believe that happened.
I didn't know that. Actually.
Yeah, Turlock's where 99 and 5 cross with 117, and boom, as one of the biggest truck stops in the world there. But I thought that was the joke. I thought we always knew that. But because that was the first thing that the band ever had #1. When you guys were recording that, it was on American Beauty. I thought, wow, when the world hears this, it's going to be the biggest thing everywhere. But we did make it in Turlock, and we were pretty proud of that. That's why it was on that album.
It's more than just anywhere.
And now, another question we got was about hotels in New York, and when we stayed at Madison Square Garden. And we tried millions of hotels. We tried about every hotel New York had, till the
Dozens, I'll
Jefferson
say
Airplane
that.
told us about the Navarro.
Yeah,
And we found a home then, right? Would you say?
pretty much.
And
it-
that changed years later to the Ritz-Carlton, and it was still the same hotel, but some of the same people working there. And we stayed there most of the time when we played those long runs at Madison Square Garden, unless we filled it up or we couldn't. But
We used to have some pretty ferocious parties
Ferocious.
I remember one night, I got a Flowbee. I don't know if you all know what a Flowbee is.
Is that the hair?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
If you
God.
don't know what a Flowbee is, you don't watch enough late night TV. But it's one of these things. You hook it up to a vacuum cleaner, and there's a tube that sucks your hair into up into a little buzz zzz clipper,
vacuum
and you can vary the length of the tube. So that allows you to vary the length of, if you leave it on one setting, at one length of tube, it'll just cut all your hair that length. And I use one myself to this day. But
If you remember, the first person we tried it on was Jerry.
yeah,
And
Jerry wanted a haircut.
We gave Jerry a hell of a haircut. you know.
It did just fine.
Where are the pictures?
The pictures were the next day. The way he played, half his head was up this way, the other half was back this way.
For days after you cut your hair, it goes nuts a little bit.
Yeah,
It's time
yeah.
to adjust.
And don't use it on straight hair. That's for sure, because you're getting a lot of trouble.
Well, I use it all the time, but so anyway,
I
I
still got
had
one in
the
the garage.
distinct pleasure one night. We needed a vacuum cleaner to hook this up to this thing, and it's about 2 in the morning, and alcohol was involved, I think, and I had the pleasure of calling down to the desk and saying, I think we need a vacuum cleaner up here in 2303. Well, has there been an accident? Not yet.
We're very self-sufficient. We tried to not deal with anybody in the outside world, but that was impossible. And when we played the big show in Telluride, which a lot of people remember, Bob and I, Jerry, and the rest of the band, Bill Graham had a house in town, and we got rip-roaring drunk with the mayor in town. And if you remember, I was the mayor of Telluride
Oh,
for
yeah.
the time we played there.
For,
I was
for
sworn
like a
in by the
week or
mayor,
something.
even though we were both inebriated.
Alcohol was once again involved. The mayor himself was.
The mayor was happy as hell.
Where'd you guys party in New York? Like, what was
In
your-
New York?
Yeah, what were your favorite hotels or
The
places?
Ritz-Carlton on Central Park
The
South.
Navarro / Ritz-Carlton
Navarro.
on
That was
Central
used to
Park
be.
South was
favorite
our stunt. Certainly, sir, vacuum cleaner, we'll have one up. Good luck. What's your favorite hotel in New York?
My favorite hotel. Oh God. Well,
Do you remember the? Oh, sorry.
no, that's okay. No, I
You
love.
remember the Reno show that we first set up?
Wait a
Wallace
minute,
Sound?
Steve.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Actually, I have my favorite hotel now in California. It's in Studio City. It's called the Sportsman's Lodge.
Sportsman's
Oh,
Lodge, of
yes.
course, yeah.
We stayed there.
I couldn't because I had a choice between that and like the Marriott or some other thing, and I was just like, and I'm looking it up, and I'm like, I am totally staying there. It's amazing. I don't think it looks like it was done in 1980, but like redone in 1980 to look like it was done in 1940. It's just there was a fireplace, like a leather fireplace in the middle of the lobby, and then the diner is all like white leather and plaid floors and deer heads and stuff. I loved it. It was awesome.
You know the
Well,
big
the
thing.
thing about that hotel is you can park a bus there.
Right.
There were buses there
Yeah.
too when I was there last
Also-
You
week.
can't park a bus just about anywhere in LA, but you can park a bus there, so all the bands stay
Did
there.
you stayed there?
Oh yeah.
We stayed there so
I heard
long
the
ago.
Eagles stayed there too, and
It had a trout pond in front where you catch your own trout.
Come on.
And they'd serve to you. I'm not kidding. Look it up in the books. It had the trout pond. We were there so early on. Trout were still swimming in that. You could catch them with these funny little rods they had, and they'd cook them for you.
That's amazing.
And that's the
I knew
sportsman's
it